So, been a minute since I have done a video on this channel, and I have been thinking about it since I've stopped filming any videos for this channel. So, want to start with, I'm sorry that there haven't been more videos. I also want to say thank you to those that have subscribed. I saw there were 7 people that have subscribed so far, and I thought that was amazing because I don't even know that I've done 7 videos yet. I'm hoping to change that. I'm hoping to add more consistent debates. I have been looking into some things, and I'm also hoping to maybe add some shorts or little videos so that if there's one little subject someone wants to watch, they can do that as well. I also want to start by saying I have been thinking about a certain comment on one of my videos. I had to look it up. It's on my laptop. I'd have to read it. I do want to say I have been thinking about it. I've brought it up to multiple people and started kind of looking into it, but I will say that things have been happening, which is why I haven't been able to do these videos, and I actually haven't been able to really do any of my videos on any other channel. It started with a family death. Everything is okay, but it just kind of spiraled from there, and now that all the pieces seem to be in line again, all the little duckies are in a row, I'm hoping to get to that, but I do not want to do a video with half the effort. I don't want to just wing it. I want to actually put in the correct amount of effort for a video with that comment. So the comment was, someone was commenting on, can science and the Bible go together? And this person said that they do, and that essentially all ancient traditions have a commonality of the omnipotent coming from the Pleiades and cycles of destruction and rejuvenation of the planet. They give detailed descriptions of the Taran meteor stream, our most recent visitor to the inner solar system. The best example is to compare the blinding bright white light of the ablating 2013 Super-Bolide footage from below, followed by 2 counter-rotating smoking vortices to the 2 Chinese New Year dragons that chase a bright white pearl, accompanied with fireworks. It's shown symbolically. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these words I was not even sure how to pronounce, and then hearing the Google pronunciation, I was still confused. So I'm gonna try my best. Lasso cave art. I feel like I'm trying to pronounce the biblical tribes, okay? And as a Christian, I will say that's very difficult. And it goes on to talk about how all ancient traditions have a commonality, and then, they're listing various examples, very specific examples. I'll actually stop reading there, not because of the name being a challenge, but because I actually would like to do a full video on that and leave those little details for the video. I don't want to give away all the information, but you know who you are. I have been thinking about that since and talked to people about it, but I still don't really know enough, and I don't want to just slap a video together and say, there you go, I did a video, when it wasn't the best I could do. So with that being said, I do want to know that you are still, in the back of my mind, or that comment, I should say, in the back of my mind, and that I do plan to do a video on that. But for right now, I am still practicing with things I'm more familiar with, because I still would like it to be debate format. I might actually just do what I have found and then do a debate. Depends, but I do want you to know I do plan to do a full video on your comment. So, with that being said, again, I want to thank the subscribers that I've gotten. I'm sorry for the lack of videos. I'm hoping to be more consistent now, and this one is not going to be probably as hard of a debate on the very subject itself, but just looking at various viewpoints of the different subpoints of this argument. So, for this video, it is going to be on creationism versus evolutionism. And it's whether or not, things were created or evolution. So when looking up the definitions, creationism is basically the belief that the universe and living beings originate from specific acts of divine creation. So it does not necessarily have to be the Christian belief system if that's what their belief system states, is that their God or divine being, supreme being created everything. That would be a form of creationism. I've always kind of taught it from the Christian viewpoint, but that's probably because it was normally mentioned in a church, because it's not allowed to be taught in school. or in most schools. At least none of the ones I went to was it really mentioned. And of course, evolution, it had a really long definition. I'm sure most of us know what that is, but it's basically the belief that living organisms likely evolved from others, or I should say, that all living organisms evolved from some sort of single cell organism that somehow came to life out of nowhere. I'm not being funny, I'm not trying to make fun of that belief, but basically somehow abiotic became biotic and then made all of us. So those are the two different belief systems. I was actually looking up some good debate topics, and because I felt like I had a lot but none that I really want to do yet. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable with the topics I bring up, so I figured this one would be a comfortable one. So to start this out, there are a couple of different creation ideas from the biblical perspective. I happen to be one of those people that believe that, God created everything in the beginning and then he let things do their thing, and so if things can become extinct, theoretically we can get new things. Now, some people might say you're squishing evolution into your Bible somewhere. Technically, yes, but I don't necessarily believe that it is squishing it into the Bible. There's a difference between macroevolution and microevolution. I don't believe that I could have come from a bacteria, but I don't know that I would have looked the same as Adam and Eve. Technically me being Eve, obviously, but I don't think we would look quite the same. In fact, we might possibly, there's been some debate about it, look a little bit enough different than maybe, let's say, Jesus 2,000 years ago, because people change, animals change. We've gotten a lot of dogs out of wolves. Things can change, but you're not going to breed wolves and get a crocodile. I don't see that. Evolutionists, however, could see things, don't remember the exact word, but I want to say things starting in the water and then, coming on land, like a fish being able to walk, that kind of thing. But there's also the belief, I've actually talked with a family member about this before, that they believe that everything that is here was divinely created at the beginning. I personally don't hold that for several reasons. I haven't really thought too hard about how to debate these points per se, but I just don't see that. And there is one biblical point I'll bring up in a second, because I believe that can be debated strictly with the Bible, because it would be two Christians talking about which creation theory makes most sense with their Bible. So I'm going to stick with the Bible verse here on this one. So for that, I would say, because it makes it very clear in the Noah's Ark story about kinds. And if you look that up, it's more of the family. It's not each individual species. It would be the family types. The funniest thing I could think of would be, some neighbors of ours have peacocks and they're adorable, but they are technically a form of peafowl. There are multiple peafowls, and theoretically, only one version of peafowl had to be on the ark. It's that kind of processing, that thought processing, that many have come to believe, having looked into the story, that it would have been, the family going into the ark. So for something like that, your horses and donkeys and zebras would have only needed one kind to go onto the ark, which we see, with Noah. By the time Joseph is sold to some Egyptians by his brothers, it is said that they have both horses and donkeys. So we've gone from a type, which we don't know exactly what went on the ark, to at least two distinguishable species. I don't personally believe that God just waved a magic wand and created a new species. Not saying he couldn't do that, but I just don't believe that's what has happened or has been happening. I believe he set things in motion for things to do what they need to do, like in the Galapagos Islands. He clearly created a finch, but the finches then said, we need some different things on this island and that island, and thus became slightly different species of finches. That is my personal belief, and that's really the only debate point I had on that, because it's kind of an obscure point to be looking up in the Bible. But with that being said, I personally hold to he started the process and let the process work itself out. So I've been having a difficult time, coming up with a debate, I should say, on how to do the creation versus evolution. And I have a couple of bullet points here. So the first one, because I like common ground as well, the first one is that neither one of them can be proven. They're both theories. Scientifically speaking, they are both theories. There are Christians that don't believe evolution should be taught in school, and there are more science-believing people that believe that creation should not be taught in schools. And so far, they have won. I happen to think they should both be taught. They're both theories. And because neither one can be proven, they should both be taught in schools. We can only prove microevolution, like in that Bible verse there, or like the Galapagos Islands. We heard that one in school. That's micro. At no point have we proved that we got a bird from a fish or something. That cannot be proven. So it should not be taught in schools as the answer. I personally don't believe it. I don't even think that creationism should be taught in school as the answer. That is for the parents to do, because that is coming from a religion standpoint. Schools are meant to educate, even though they're not really doing that. I believe they're indoctrinating, but that's beside the point. Hence, they're giving only one viewpoint and not both. But technically, the religious part is on the parents. Like, I wouldn't want a Muslim kid to be sitting next to me having to hear my Christian theories and nothing else. That's wrong. I personally, that's wrong. Now, as a Christian, I want to see that person and their family saved. Yes, but that's for a whole different, that's for me to do missions for, even if it's in America in my circle, that's still, I feel like I'm rambling on this one. I have so much I want to say because I haven't done videos, so bear with me here. I actually had to look at my clock to see how long I've been going. So, with that being said, they are both theories. So that is somewhat common ground, is that they are both theories and neither one of them can be proven. So, the second interesting point that I've seen a lot about is whether or not the earth needs to be 6,000 years old for the Bible to be true, essentially. There are people who believe that and have gone to the efforts of showing scientifically that it can be proven that it's only about 6,000 years old to follow the biblical account. I personally don't believe that it has to be in order to follow the biblical account. I'm not saying how far back you could go past 6,000 years because I don't know. But I don't necessarily think that is the case. And this gets into my next point, which is about the waters being on the face of the deep. I'm actually going to read the creation account here, and then I'll get into the waters of the deep. Genesis 1:1-4. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and divided the light from the darkness. So here, it does say that He created the heaven and the earth in the beginning. In the beginning. Now, I've actually read that, Bereshit, that first word, could mean at the beginning of the story, more or less. That's not exactly the translation, but when it is translated to how we would understand it, it would almost be like, the beginning of the story starts with, or, starting with. Now, some people believe in a gap theory between 1 and 2. That's a whole different debate. But it says that the heaven and the earth were created at the beginning, whenever that was. And it says that the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. So we think of creation as, water covering the earth. Why would water be covering the earth? Because the only other biblical account that we have of water covering the earth is Noah's flood, like a judgment. And then He has to create land off of that, which I find a little strange. Like, if the earth is there, why would it? Because He doesn't say anything about Him creating the waters. See, that's the thing. It doesn't say that He created the waters. It says that in the beginning, heaven and earth are created. But then, as He's starting His creation of what we know, again, this is all from the biblical perspective, but from what we know, there's already this blob with water all over it. So, that to me sounds like there could have been a judgment. And because if you actually read about, God blessing Adam and Eve, be fruitful, multiply, this, that, or the other, some people have said that actually could involve missionary work. That's, again, a whole nother debate. I probably should go back through this and see what all debates I've brought up to give me more content ideas. But with that being said, I think there could have been something before that. I don't necessarily just take science at its word, but we do see fossils that look different enough from us, but nothing like anything else, that make me think, well, what if there was, an old version? What if, I have actually questioned this one, but I kind of have a hard time with it but that would be that possibly there was a judgment with another ark, and God was like, yeah, I'm going to need to start a whole nother line because y'all were somehow still corrupted but trying. I don't know a better way to explain that. And then as, the human sons had more of their seed, that I've heard that possibility, like there were other humans. Well, the only way I could see other humans is if there was a pre-Adamic flood with another ark, and then they created their own stuff while God was busy creating Adam and Eve to fix the problem, and then they failed. I've heard that one. That one is something I'd really have to dig into. But nonetheless, I don't believe that you have to have a 6,000-year-old earth to still be biblically accurate. Because clearly something was going on before then that we're missing. And I think it could be, a space of time. So this could be done in a much bigger, better debate. But I will say I do believe in the whole 24-hour days. Not just because it uses the word yom, because if we say, wait a minute, we're not expecting the other person to count 60 seconds. Just because it uses the word day does not mean it's talking about 24 hours. However, it does talk about evening and morning were the first day, and the second day, and the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? So, as far as I'm concerned, that would mean a 24-hour period. So, I looked into this because I've seen some interesting points on this, and this gets back to the debate, the actual debate between the two theories. And that is, religion is the belief in worship in superhuman powers. Some sort of superhuman power. And faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Now, worship is usually said to be some sort of admiration to a divine being, something like that. But it could theoretically be to anything deemed superhuman, such as like ancient civilizations worshiping the sun, for example. That was considered superhuman to them. So that being said, I personally believe that while clearly evolution and creation are not the same thing, I want to say that neither side are seeing the similarity in the other side. And I do believe this is seen with a lot of other topics, especially when debated over the Bible. There's something I've seen about that where a lot of times the Bible is being required to have, hold up to more scrutiny than anything else. And yes, because I believe it's, the Word of God, that it should be able to. And I'm not saying that I have a problem with that. The problem is that scientifically and historically, when we're looking in ancient documents, the Bible is the only one that's tested as hard as it is. Everything else is just kind of like, oh, look what we have. When we do that, when a Christian does that with the Bible, they're like, not the Bible. Like, I'm not joking. Like, it's the one that, it's got to hold to so much more by people who don't even believe it's the Word of God to take any part of it seriously. Many believe it is a mistreatment of the Bible. That, again, can make a whole nother video. So, I accidentally cut my video off, so I'm just going to kind of start this part over. So, Christians have a faith in a God that they cannot sense, whether it's touch, see, smell, etc., and a book that was written by man with accounts that they or we were not there to prove. And many Christians often get defensive when questioned on their beliefs. God is normally the answer. Well, it's just God. Well, because God, God is normally the answer to all questions. Whereas atheists, or those that simply just believe in science, they have a faith in scientific theories that they cannot prove in books written by people who they can't prove anything because they weren't there. They believe in books that were written by men often either many years ago or even in the present, talking about things that the reader was not there to prove. And they normally get defensive about their science, like, why are you questioning our science? And many times, well, science is the answer, or gravity is the answer. And I'm not saying that from like gravity isn't real standpoint, but like a lot of times it feels like it's science is, or because gravity. Somehow that just explains everything. From that point of view, I think both are very similar. We are both just blind faith believing in something. And that is part of the reason I'm creating this channel, is because I've noticed that in my Christian beliefs that my faith has been blind, and I don't like that. I want to be able to ask questions and answer questions. I believe that some Christians get as far as the asking of questions, but never quite to the point of answering questions. And so I'm hoping to grow myself there. That being said, this was probably not the best video I've ever done. I was kind of doing it on a whim because I just really wanted to do one on my off day today, and I'm hoping you've liked it. Please feel free to make comments. Those of you that were commenting regularly, that was amazing. Give me more feedback. There are some other things that I would like to do videos on, and I'll list a few of those right now. There is someone that I've begun following. I've actually subscribed to his channel on YouTube, and he believes that we are in Satan's short season where he's loosed, as Revelation describes. And I found that interesting because I've always grown up in church where, we are in pre-tribulation, kind of pre-revelation, so to speak. And I find that viewpoint to be very interesting, something that I've never really thought about. But I feel like that would be easy for me to look into, and not that I'm trying to do easy, but I want to start easy. Okay, let's clarify. I'm trying to start easy here. And I have been wanting to do a video on the King James Bible and some of my beliefs on that. I'm kind of scared to ruffle feathers the wrong way for any Christian who might be subscribing to this channel, and doing a debate basically on King James onlyism versus not, and even going so far as to some of the not anti-King James beliefs, but some of the, is it even really that good of one? I have seen some of those arguments, and I really want to dive into those. I would love to dive into Proverbs 31 woman. My sister and I had an interesting discussion on Proverbs 31, and I remember as a child really studying Proverbs 31 to the best of my ability, and apparently she had too. We had some really interesting conversation. I actually would like to feature her. I have recently made a good friend who says he is agnostic, which I've never met someone who's agnostic. I've had many people say that they're atheist, or I even had a Muslim friend. I've had a Buddhist friend, but I have never had an agnostic friend. I find that I honestly have a hard time making friends. That's why my friend thing, my friend scope seems very limited. It's not, oh, I'm a Christian and we'll only make friends with Christians. I have a hard time making good friends anyway. Not like other people aren't good enough for me. I just have a hard time making those connections with other people, and I'm hoping to be able to feature him as well and have a debate on some of his beliefs, because I find them to be very well thought out. I will probably get totally destroyed in that debate. I'm not even gonna lie. But hey, I want the challenge. I've also seen a lot of you commenting, and a lot of Christians lately, I did not even know this was really a thing until recently, but a lot of Christians believe in flat earth, and I've been looking into that and how it is not just some random disc floating through the solar system, according to the flat earth beliefs. And I'm like, okay, want to look into that. The problem is I am not very scientifically literate, I guess you would say. I know some of the very minimal basics from school, but honestly, science was never my strong suit. Math was. I mean, I had math down. A lot of the sciences, not so much. And so, with that being said, that's part of the reason I haven't done that one. I also don't want people to be like, oh, they're even discussing that? And yes, I'm discussing that, And so, I don't know about that one, but I am hoping that at least 2 of my debates include guest speakers. And so if y'all have any other interesting debate topics, that would be awesome. Another one I almost forgot was women preachers. And I said that as a woman, I want to look into that. Now, I will go ahead and tell you, I do not consider myself an American feminist. That's not where that video is going to go. Obviously, all of these videos will have some of my bias. They will be looking through my lenses, and I'm not an American feminist. That's not where that's going to go. But it's going to look at women in the church and what they should and should not do, because we are different. Men and women are different. That was it. The other one I forgot. I don't think there were any more on my list. But if you have any other ideas, please comment. Let me know what you think, which one you think it should do next. Unless, of course, it's one of the ones that involves a guest speaker, the Protestant one, or my debate with the agnostic friend of mine. That will depend on whether or not they can, join me. I'm curious what y'all think. I did have a lot of y'all comment on the Flat Earth one. I've been thinking about doing that one. I just don't really know my science very well. But I also thought about doing an interesting video on people's belief in science and how that is almost the same as Christianity, but that's a possibility as well. I am hoping to reach out into other religions, but I probably will not do that until I debate my friend, not only to give them the chance to be first, but to give me good practice in another religion. I was hoping to do a somewhat longer video, but I did just want to give y'all a taste of something as a thank you for subscribing and participating. And I do hope to see my skills improve, y'all's skills improve, our knowledge to improve. And yeah, I'm hoping to see improvement for all of us. With that being said, I don't really have anything else to say, so please stay tuned for the next video. And again, please comment down below what you would like to see me do a video on next.